Häubung von Anfang. Bei uns hat man ungeheuben zu machen Pesach 4 Wochen bevor. Es hat ungeheuben zerroman, übergekehrtes Haus von oben bis unten.
In our house, we started Passover. We started it 4 weeks before the holiday, and we started to clean. And we would take the house and turn it upside down.
Mit jedes Winkel hat man viele in Schlafzimmer, wo es kein Bräut kommt, käme und nicht daran, hat man auch alles geräumt.
We cleaned in every corner, and we even went into the sick room, which normally we don't go into, and we cleaned everything.
In Sommer man hat gehabt ein Gewölb. Hat verkauft verschiedene Sachen, Chummetz, Brot, Mehl, alles. Aber das hat man gemisst in der Nacht, bevor Erev Yontev, hat man genommen, beudig Chummetz zu sein.
My father had a business, and he sold all kinds of things, including flour and another list of things, I guess like a grocery, like a dry goods store. And the night before the holiday, we went down there and we took the hummus. I believe we took the hummus out.
Man hat es geriefen, beudig Chummetz. Hat man gegeben, stücklich Brot überall. Und man hat, ich bin gegangen mit der Licht, und man hat es gegangen mit der Feder, und hat gecleaned the Chummetz.
Okay, my father and I, we went to clean out the hummus with a light, with a candle and a feather. What does boydik mean?
To clean, boydik Chummetz.
To check.
Okay, all right. So they did it the night before the holiday, and they went down to the store and they cleaned it out with the feather and the light.
Und nachdem hat man das verbrennt, das Säckerloten verbrennt.
And then they burned the hummus.
Aber in Erev Yontev, Erev Pesach, hat man schön nicht noch gekannt essen, ein Stückel Brot bei 10 in der Früh, but nicht später.
The right before Passover, we could still eat a piece of bread until 10 o'clock in the morning, but not later than that.
Erev Pesach.
Right before Passover.
Hat man ungeheuben zu backen der Matze. Man hat nicht gekannt kaufen kann Matzes, man hat gemisst allein backen.
Then we started to bake the matzahs. We couldn't buy the matzahs, so we had to bake them on our own.
So vor 3 Wochen zurück hat man ausgeräumt ein Haus für eine Frau. Man hat alles übergewaschen und alles sauber. Man hat den Oven, Kuschel gemacht im Oven. Und man hat gerieft ein paar Frauen, wo sie wollen backen ihre Matzes.
3 weeks before Passover, we rented a house from a woman. We took everything out. We cleaned everything. We made the oven kosher. And then women were able to come in and they were able to bake their own matzahs.
Ein Mann oder eine Frau hat gekneten und die andere ausgewalgerte Matzes.
All right, one man or one woman, rolled the matzahs out and
made the dough.
They made the dough and the other one rolled it out.
A paar ausgewalgert, sehr, sehr dünn.
Some used the rolling pin and made it very, I have to show it, and made it very, very thin.
In einer hat gebacken.
And one person baked it.
And a paar sind rausgekommen, a bisschen verbrennt, but was kämen die?
Some of them came out a little burnt, but what could you do?
Man hat a größten Kosch, a größten basket. Kosch is a basket.
Okay.
Wenn der Matzes gewesen ein bisschen kalt, hat man gelegt eine Reihe von Matzes.
When we had a huge basket, and when the matzah cooled off, we put in Araya, I'm not sure, but some of the matzahs.
Einmal mit der Sachkinder hat gehabt 10 Kilo, einmal mit der kleinen Familie hat gehabt 2 Kilo. Wieso die Familie hat gebraucht?
Okay, so the larger families had about 10 kilos of matzah, the smaller ones about 2, depending on the size of the family.
Man hat heimgenommen die Matzes und man hat sie gelegt auf den Boden.
We took home the matzahs, they took home the matzahs and they put them on the
Attic, Boden.
In the attic.
Boden. Aber mein Nies, Ida, und ich, uns pflegt man darauf, gehen sehr still und haben wir genommen, haben wir gegessen ein bisschen, jede Woche ein bisschen von der Matze.
Okay. But my niece Ida and I, we went very quietly up to the attic, and every day we ate a little bit of the matzah.
Und wenn meine Mama ist gekommen, vor Pesach, es kommt sie runter und sagt meine Tate, Herrsch, du seine gewähn Maß, so haben gegessen, so viel von der Matze.
So my mother went down, saw it, and came down to my father, Hesh, and said there was a lot more, but they must have eaten a lot of the matzah.
The mice.
Oh, the mice. Okay, you were the mice, though.
Weil Pesach ist gewesen ein wunderbar Jontef. Jeder hat gekriegt neue Kleider, neue Unterhose, alles neu. Die Kinder haben gehabt neue Schiech, Lackschiech.
Passover was a wonderful holiday. Everybody got new clothes, even new underwear, and the children got beautiful new shoes.
Es ist gewesen ein Wunder. Ein Jahr habe ich gehabt neue Schiech, ich bin gewesen efter 4 Jahre alt und ich hab nicht gekannt warten bis den nächsten Tag, aber ich schon Erev Jontef ungetein der neue Lackschiech.
1 year, I must have been 4 years old. I got new shoes. I couldn't wait until Passover. So the day before I put on my new, what is Laya? A patent leather?
The shiny, what do you call it?
The patent leather shoes.
Patent leather shoe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But mein Bruder, Manny, ist gegangen und angespart 2 Pferd mit dem Wogen und ist gefahren spazieren.
My brother Manny, he went with his horse and wagon and he went for a ride.
Und ich habe ihm gesagt, wart auf mir. Aber hat nicht gewollt warten, bin ich noch gelaufen und mein Fuß ist gewesen in den Rädel. Und ganz geschwollen.
All right, so he didn't want to wait for me because I was screaming, wait for me, and he didn't want to. So I ran after him, and my feet were
in the wheel.
Oh, in the spokes. Okay. Mm.
Oh. And it swelled up.
And they swelled up. Yeah.
Ich gekannt gehen in Schule mit meinen neuen Schiech.
And I couldn't go to school with my new shoes.
Es ist gewesen ein herrlicher Jontef. Und so haben wir gehabt, efter 12 Gäste. Wenn sie gewesen ein armer Mensch, ist gekommen zu in der Stadt und hat nicht gehabt, wie zu sein auf Pesach, hat Mama sie eingeladen und sie sind gekommen und sind gewesen bei uns beim Seder.
It was a beautiful holiday, and we had about 12 people. And when there was a stranger or two that came to the town, my mother would invite them and they would come to us to the Seder. Excuse me, I have to turn that off.
Mein Tate hat ihn geriefen, Herrsch der Malach.
My father, they called him Hesh the King.
The angel.
The angel, Malach. Oh, okay, yeah.
Ist gewesen ein Mensch, als gehört, einmal zu darf oben etwas, Jid oder nicht Jid, hat geholfen. Als die Frau ist gekommen in Geschäft und gesagt, ich habe 12 Kinder und ich habe nicht kein Geld für Easter, hat gegeben, hat für nicht gerechnet.
My father was an angel, and he was very generous. And when somebody would come to the store, there was a woman with 12 children, and she came in and she said, I have no money for Easter. He would just give her what she needed without money.
I need to call Getla to.
We need to have, okay.
Okay. Schönen Dank für die Herzen zu meiner Manse.
Oh, thank you that you're listening to my story. We're thrilled to hear your story.
Schönen Dank.
Schönen Dank, was ihr hat uns erzählt. A schönen Dank, was ihr hat uns erzählt.
Oh, ihr seid, wie sagt man, how do you say you're welcome?
Nicht du favus.
Nicht du favos.
That's right.
Nicht du favos.
Okay, thank you, Judula.
Does she have more? Did you have anything else to say? Or because your story, dein Mindset is a Zoi in Herzen farin Sala, as wir kennen Sinn, was die Rest, wir kennen Sinn, die ganze.
Ich habe Manses bis in der Früh. Ich habe sehr viel Manses zu erzählen.
Okay.
I have a question, Judula.
Aber es hat noch.
Ich habe eine Frage für dir.
Oh.
Deine Seder, wie lang is it? The actual Seder, is it 2 hours, 2 Stunden, 4 Stunden?
Ja. In der Seder ist gewesen eine ganze der Nacht. Man hat ungeheuben Milche, man hat gedauert Milche und nachdem hat man ungeheuben zu essen. Es gesessen meine Tate, meine 3 Brüder und meine Schwester mit ihrem Mann, also gekannt kommen. Es gewesen öfter 12 Menschen. Aber in sind wir noch gewesen klein, ich und meine Nichte.
Oh, wait. Maybe we need help here.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, okay.
Our Seder started at Mincha. It started in the evening and it lasted a whole night. And it was myself and my niece and my 3 brothers and my sister-in-law, and if she could come, and about 12 people, and I was very little.
Die Kolben hat ungeheuben mit gefülltem Fisch, frische Fisch, was man gehabt in the river.
And we started off with gefilte fish that we caught, that was fresh, that we caught in the river.
Denselben Tag. Und nachdem gewähnt Lokschen, heimgemachte Lokschen mit Suppe.
Then we had, I guess, Passover noodles with soup.
In der nachdem ist gewesen Katschke in Hühner, in Rindfleisch.
Then we had a hen, chicken and hen and meat. But what kind of meat?
Beef, boiled beef.
Okay.
Entschuldig, ich reise über, weil man hat du euch a Katschke.
A Katschke, ja?
Man hat a Katschke, zet nur mein Namen. Wir können sehen mein Namen. Can you all see my name? I said
Yes.
you have one more Katschke here.
That's true.
And it's saying a Katschke is a duck.
A duck, right.
That's our name.
Ja. In gewähnt Kompott, frisch Kompott gemacht von Apples. Und die Apples gewähnt eine einzige Frucht. Und in nachdem hat er gehabt ein Kuchen gemacht von Eier und Nis. Pesach Cake, ein Kuchen.
Pesach Dicker, Kugel? Kugel?
Das ist Pesach.
Yeah, kompot is like a cold fruit. It's
Fruit.
like it's not, it's like a fruit salad, but it's more like a fruit soup almost.
It's cooked fruit.
Yeah, it's cooked fruit with grapes and
In der
apples.
beste Wein. Man hat dort schon alle verschiedene Wein und einmal hat gemisst gehen in den Keller, aufzuheben den kalten Wein. Es ist gewesen ein sehr guter Wein.
My father had the best wine, and somebody had to go down to the cellar and bring up the cold wine, and it was the best wine.
Did he make his own wine?
He did too, but that's not what they served. But, no, das hat gemacht. But das arme Menschen haben nicht gehabt in Stutt, sie haben nicht gehabt Geld zu kaufen, den Wein, haben sie gemacht ihr eigenen.
Poor people in town who couldn't go to town and buy wine had to make their own wine.
Wieso haben sie gemacht den Wein? Sie haben gekauft Roschenkes, und sie haben ich kann mich nicht erinnern, öfter Wasser, und hat es gelost jeden für 2 Wochen.
How do you make the wine? You go and you buy the raisins, and then you add water, and then you let it set for like 2 weeks.
Ferment. Und das haben die armen Menschen, die haben nicht gehabt, kein Geld zu kaufen, guten Wein.
That's what the poor people who didn't have any money did, who couldn't buy the good wine.
Sounds like there's yeast in there. Judy, you were telling me how you wash the dishes on Passover.
Oi, wei, das ist gewesen eine andere Masse. Man gemisst bringen, und so sind wir gewohnt, nicht weit von der Fluss, von der Rika. Man gemisst gehen und mit ein bisschen auf ein bisschen Berge. Man hat es gelegt daran im Wasser, man hat herangelegt das Stein, because das Wasser, der Fluss, hat es gewesen weggenommen. So hat man das.
Wait. We need a net. We
may need a net. I'm not sure. We went with the dishes. We lived near was it a well?
A river.
A river, okay. And we had to take the dishes, and we had to put a stone in the dishes so that the river wouldn't wash it away.
Sehr good, yes.
That's a dishwasher.
And there were a couple of hills also to get to the river, so it was a job.
Und nachdem, in was ist gelost dort, und dort ist gewesen ein bisschen stücklich von dem Teig, pflegen die Fischlich kommen, und wenn wir es gekommen herausnehmen, sind gewesen kleine Fischlich in dem.
Oh, all right. When we put the dishes in, there might have been a little leftover dough, and so if the little fishes would come and they would want to eat the dough. So when we picked up the dishes, we also found sometimes some little fishes in the dishes.
Ja, du bist ein Poetin geworden, ja. Es ist gewesen ein herrlicher Jontef. Und in Jontef, meine Tate und meine Brüder sind gegangen in Schiel. Weil uns haben wir gewohnt, weit von der Stadt. Und man geht über 6 Kilometer. So haben wir gehabt einen kleinen Stiebel.
It was a herrliche, which is really translated to like a heavenly holiday. And my father and my brothers would go to shul, but we lived 6 kilometers. We lived pretty far from the shul, and we what?
Von der größeren Schule.
From the big shul. I guess there was a smaller one closer.
So eins haben wir gehabt, ein kleines Schul, ein kleines Tilecho.
Okay, they had a small temple, I guess, close by, but they went to the big one.
My mom ist gegangen zum Größten, but meine Tate mit den 3 Brüdern sind gegangen in Kleinen.
Oh, all right. her mother would go to the big one that was far away, but her father and her brothers would go to the small one that was close by.
Ja, das ist schon Jontef, sind sie heimgekommen. Der Seder ist ungeheuben auf der Nacht. Es hat gedauert bis 11, halb 12 in der Nacht.
All right, so then they started the Seder, and it started at night, and it lasted till 11, or did it start at 11?
No, it lasted till 11.
Lasted till 11.
Ja,
Okay.
but ins Kinder vielleicht man schon schlafen dort bei dem Seder, der Seder ist mit Kishnarim.
All right, but the little kids would fall asleep at the Seder because there were pillows all around, and they fell asleep on the pillows.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's okay.
Dank, Judela, Dank. And now, Yankel, are you still here?
Shanam Dank.
I'm here.
All right, well,
Shkoyach, Judy.
Yankel Bizdu, and Yankel comes from the Satmar community in Brooklyn, and he grew up in a Yiddish-speaking household, and we'll see how his Seder is the same or different from Judy's Seder. So Yankel, please, okay, I got this one. Please read A Bissel Pamelecher. Du weißt, was ich
Pamelecher, yeah, slower.
Speak a little slowly. That's one of their homework assignments.
Right.
So, okay, and I guess Yankel can translate for himself.
I'll try. To be honest, coming after that, I mean, it's hard to top that. So actually, it was quite similar in many ways to where I grew up.
In Yiddish.
Yeah. I just realized. So, es ist kamal dezelfde. 4 Wochen vor Pesach. I took noch Purim, basically. Is when the Roman had to go. So 4 weeks before, it's almost the same as Judy's. The day before Purim, usually. Some people start before Purim, but where I grew up, day after Purim, sorry. Day after Purim, you start cleaning.
Yiddish.
And yeah, that I just
Yiddish.
translated. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So alles wird gereinigt. Jeden Closet, jede Tasche, jeden Ladle. Du was reinigen after the chandelier. Everything gets cleaned. The closets, the drawers, the pockets, every pocket, the walls, everything gets cleaned. Although Tanas is spring cleaning. Some say that it's not for Pesach, it's for spring cleaning. So you get a chance to already clean, because technically you don't need to clean the walls for Passover. Yeah, so days Zeitos a bissel via Milchuma. The house looks a little bit like a war zone sometimes, you know. Alle toys. I come out Havana, you know, macht Havana for alle toys. The toys get a bath. And some of the Sach toys, some are 18 einiglich. We have a lot of toys. We have 18, my parents have 18 grandchildren and 7 children, and it's a big family. Yeah, so this guy tune biz bedikas chumatznak. So it's all a race to the night before Passover, which is we call it bedikas chumetz, boidik chumetzan.
Yeah.
So it's basically an inspection for chumetz. The tradition is als man legt noch ein aufreinigen, legt man brecklich, 10 brecklich, the hose, and I'll translate in a second, the hose, and the Tate, mein Tate geht mit der Licht und der Feder, sie ist aufsichtende brecklich. Die Kinder behalten es, and Tata got him to the left, and the breklets then in silver paper, silver foil. So the tradition is that the night of Boidik Chumetz, where you inspect for Chumetz, is my father goes around with a candle and a feather. First, we have 10 pieces of bread, small pieces, crumbs, in the silver foil, so it doesn't spill out. And the kids hide it. Especially when we were younger, we would hide it. And my father would go around and part of the tradition and find these 10 pieces of bread. The reason being is just to make sure that you clean everywhere. And nachdem, so vaadem noch, the grootste Sache is kashern de koch. So you kosher, the big deal is koshering the kitchen. So everything has to be cleaned, and then they kosher the kitchen. And it's pouring hot water all over the place, and it's a whole big deal. Yeah. And nachdem heet, kann man unheim kochen van Jantiv. Al vadem kennen nicht. Nou, als du Menschen, was haben a Pesach koch, Menschen haben ein bisschen mehr Geld, ein bisschen mehr Platz. Und sie können unheim kochen früher, aber auch 2, weil der Pesach koch wird nicht ganz durch. I'll translate. But in some nicht in their house, so man da warten bis noch mal kashet, man soll keinen unheim kochen für Pesach. So, after koshering is the first time you can start cooking for Passover. And it's a lot of cooking because there's a lot of people here. The first time, because before that, the kitchen is not kosher for Passover. So it would be considered chametz, or not usable for Passover. So some people have a designated kitchen, a small kitchen. They call it a Pesach koch, a Passover kitchen, that they don't use all year, and they only use for Passover, so they can start cooking earlier. But by us, you need to wait till after the kitchen is koshered, basically after B'dikas Chumetz, after you look for all the Chumetz crumbs, and then you can start cooking. Anyways, the next tug in the free is Sreifes Chumetz, where the next tug in the free verbrennt man the Chumetz. And man hat bis 10, 11, ich weiß pinklich, was the Zeiger is, but yeah, berich 10, 11 Zeiger in the free. So the next morning is you have to burn the Chumetz. So my father goes and burns whatever is left. Like, I don't know. And you have to burn it by 10 or 11. I don't remember exactly what time, but somewhere around what Judy said. And then there's no eating chametz afterwards. Nurdem is do in the ich the quiet after the storm. Afterwards, it's like a quiet after the storm. It's like the whole house was flying, and all of a sudden everything is peaceful and quiet. Because you can't eat chametz, there's nothing to clean. Everything is clean already. So it's all basically cooking for the holiday and the Seder. And that's it. Man tate geht Matzos backen. Matzos backen bei uns ist schon nicht also hands-on. Es ist, man geht kaufen Matzos, das ist gebacken Erev Pesach. So my father goes to bake matzah, but it's more commercial than it used to be in Judy's times and earlier on. And my father goes to buy matzah that is baked on the day of before Pesach, before the Seder. The tradition is so he buys, kauft matzah früher, kauft 30 Pfund matzah, heute Schwaden, aber a tradition, the minig is to gehen and kaufen for the Seder matzahs. So 6 matzahs, just 3 matzahs for the erste Seder and 3 matzahs for the zweite Seder. Immer beten, mummen bedoelen for them. So there is a tradition so my father buys, I think, around 30 pounds at this point of matzah for the whole holiday. But this is weeks before Passover. What happens is there's a tradition though to bake matzah specifically for the Seder. There's the 3 matzahs you use for the Seder. That's a tradition, at least where I grew up. And you go buy those matzahs, so 6 matzahs in total. And that is a tradition to bake on Erev Pesach, which is the day before, the day of the Seder. It costs a lot of money. They charge you for those 3 pieces of basically cardboard. They charge you a lot because it's made in a rush. Nobody pays attention. It's not great, but it's tradition. Beside it, my father goes to shul. My tata gaat to shul in Famarev. Mincha dan man before bakken matzes. And my tata gaat in shul. Marev komt daheim and open halb tchun decided. So my mincha, which is the afternoon prayers, early evening prayers, they pray before going to bake the matzah. And then my father, after everything, once Pesach hits, my father goes to shul for Maariv, which is evening prayers. Then he comes home, and then we start the Seder. The Seder starts latish, because Pesach starts nowadays, around 6, 7?
Sundown.
Yeah, sundown. So about an hour after sundown, I would say he comes home from shul. Es nimmt Zeit, du hast so Sachen Menschen, es nimmt Zeit, bis jeder setzt sich, jeder ist bereit, zu halten. So, man hat einen Schulfahrt, 39, 10, decided. Yeah. Yeah, so it's spät. So, Pesach starts after sundown, basically, an hour before sundown, but you don't pray the evening prayers till sundown. So my father comes home an hour after sundown, 2 hours after sundown an hour after sundown to do the Seder when he's done with shul. And there are so many people, it takes time till everybody gets together and you prepare the table and all that stuff. So it takes time. You don't start the Seder before 9:30, 10.
Wow.
It's late. It's very late. But this community in general is a very late community, and everything is late. No, I don't mean they show up late too, but I mean as in I would call them night owls in many respects. They're up more at night than in the morning. So then there is the Seder. The Seder is it's nicht kan es ist a serious Sache. Es ist a Seder. It's sehr regimented. Es hat a Seder, eins kommt noch der andere. Zu Zeiten, wenn wir tun nicht reden, oder man sucht, wir tun nicht reden, du es reden noch alt. But so the Seder is very regimented where I grew up. People wear a kittel, which is, I don't know how to explain a kittel. Judy, do you know what a kittel is?
You wear a white thing over it with a tie, and I don't know, it's a kittel.
Yeah.
Robe. It's a robe. It's a robe, and it goes a bissel noch de knie, a little lower than the knees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Menschen, die seine Chasne gehad, Männer, die seine Chasne gehad, haben nur eine Kittel. So men who are married wear a kittel to the Seder. And it's supposed to symbolize being an angel, white, sort of, above materialism. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to symbolize, but yeah. It's like on Yom Kippur, it's the same thing. Yeah. People wear a kittel on Yom Kippur. A holy day, same thing. A holy dinner.
Only the men wear a kittel.
Yeah.
Only men who are married.
Oh, I'm married.
So if you're 30 and not married, you don't wear a kittel. But if you're 20 and married, you wear a kittel. So So man sucht da Gude, man singt. Es ist shine, but it's serious. Nicht kann, there's no schmoozing. It's serious. It's nice, but it's pretty serious. Jeder eine fragt Manishtanu. Everybody, you go around the table and everybody asks the Manishtana the 4 questions. Every child, everybody. And then there's wine, obviously. Was noch? Ja, the Cider Guide bis 20 Werkmesprochen. Was kann gehen bis 2, 3 oder bis 4, 5? 20. Ich schon gehört von 4, 5 auch. So the Seder goes till late. It could be till 2 or 3, and some people go to 4 or 5. I've heard of both. My family, Mama Sprache geht probably around 2, 3. So wenn ich auch ben Chatzasses. So there's the Afikomen, you know what that is? So there's the tradition on the first night to eat Afikomen at Chatzas, at midnight. But midnight depends on whether the clock was moved or not. So it could be either 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. So you want to eat it at midnight, and now that it's, what is it, daylight savings time now? Now that the clock is later, so midnight is 1 a.m. So you'll eat Afikomen at 1 a.m. and then there's the rest to finish up, which is another hour and a half, I guess, or so. Yeah, this is a Mamish, that's my family. Yeah, so in general, Pesach is Zayer strict, stringent. So du mentioned, so sag gebrockt, eine Geld von gebrockt, there's such thing, it's very strict in Pesach, and there's a thing called gebrockt, which is, some people keep it, some people don't. In my family, we keep it. In my community that I come from, it's basically Matzah soll nicht touchen any Wasser. Just in case, ob es überblieben etwas Mehl, soll der Matzah nicht nass werden und es kann jeden. It's like an added stringency where you don't touch matzah to water or even, I think, juice either. So just in case, the origin of it is, it's like an added stringency that if matzah has some flour left on it and it touches water, it might rise, that little flour. So there's this added stringency. Minister matzah, which is we use a container, like a cloth container, a cloth basically to put the matzah in, so it doesn't touch anything. Or we have like other hominins, a basket, even like the matzah and the haltas dort soll nicht touchen. Oder sonst unrieden gut nicht. Oder a napkin auf dem Tisch, or to do Wasser auf dem Tisch. So man like the matzah auf dem napkin to have my shtickle boundary. So we use, there are different things we use like I don't know, I guess a pocket, sort of a cloth pocket that you can put the matzah in. We call it a matzah tash, a matzah, what is a tash?
A matzah cover. It's
Yeah,
not a matzah cover.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
it's
all
just
have
a
it.
pocket.
The pocket, matzah pocket. Yeah, that's what we call it. Yeah. Others do, or we have a basket that we use, like a loose-side plastic kind of basket that we have on the table, that matzah is there, and when you want some, you take it out, so it doesn't just sit around. Or we have a piece of napkin and we put it on a napkin and cover it, just in case there's some water on the table. Yeah, it's added stringencies. Ins Essen wir nicht most Sachen in draußen. I feel it's a kushel Pesach. So we don't eat most things that is not made at home on Pesach. even if it's kosher for Passover and has all the bells and whistles for kashrut, we don't eat anything. The only spices we use, salt and pepper is the only thing we use. I wrote down some notes. One of the reasons is to do our Indian, see minimalist of Pesach, less variety. There's an Indian to be sort of minimalism in food wise. There's a what is an Indian? There's sort of a
issue,
and it's sort of people take it on themselves.
a principle. No.
Yeah, a principle they take it on themselves to not eat to eat the minimum, basically the minimum amount of variety. Since we can't eat kosher, we can't eat leavened bread or products that are made from that are not kosher for Passover. People just cut out a lot of things. So you don't go out and buy, you don't go to restaurants, you don't go, some people do, but not in my family. You don't buy stuff that to eat, just processed products and stuff that you can buy at a store. Einzelne Sachen zu essen ist ein bisschen cheese, Eier, some vegetables. The only things we eat is cheese, eggs, matzah, meat or chicken, and a lot of fish, gefilte fish, a lot of gefilte fish.
What will be on your Passover table?
Oh,
What will you be served?
yeah, so dann gefilte fish. Halbtag bekommen gefilte fish. So matzah first, nun gefilte fish. Nun du zip.
Soup?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's gefilte fish, there's soup. Man macht Lokschen von Eier. So you do like a scrambled egg, and you make noodles out of that. You cut it up,
Cut up
and that's
egg, but there's no
egg.
flour in it. No flour?
No, just eggs.
it used to be called Eierlokschen.
Eierlachsen, yeah. Also rief man in, we call that, yeah. Eierlachsen, egg noodles, but without the fire.
Matzo balls?
No.
No matzo balls?
Nicht ins, nein, because es hat Matze in sich. Ins Essen ist kein gebrockt.
Matzah meal, oh.
So because it has matzah meal.
Oh, okay.
And we don't dip matzah in water for the first 6 days. The 7th day, there's a tradition to go all out and eat everything,
But
and
matzo
dip the
balls,
matzah in the soup. Yeah.
So do you make
So no
matzo
matzo ball.
brine?
We don't make matzo brine now. Only later, only the 7th day.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, Sandy, we can hear you.
Okay, question about the matzah. The matzah you have on your Seder, is that what we call shmora matzah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Handmade. Yeah.
Right. So do you only use that for the Seder, or do you use that all week?
Good question. We use it all week, and that's the only quote unquote bread that we eat. Yeah.
Right.
Only shmora matzah.
So when you buy it, it's Erev Pesach, and you buy enough for the whole week.
Yeah, my father buys about 30 pounds. Yeah. Yeah. It's expensive.
So
It's
you
expensive
scramble
holiday.
your eggs. You scramble your eggs with matzah.
Sorry?
Where is
You your eggs with matzah.
She's asking you scramble your eggs with matzah.
You could do that
Oh,
because
that's
it's not
matzah
water.
brie. That's matzah brie.
Oh, okay. I
Yep.
thought. No, okay. I thought it had matzah. Yeah. But I don't think we made it. I don't know.
How many people
pretty sure I-
sitting at
yeah.
your Passover Seder? How many people around the table?
It depends on who is around. It's family. Okay, so bin eben aufgewachsen, pflegen das Ganze meine ältere Seite. Dann gehen sein und meine ältere Seite, so ganz meine ältere Seite war the einsided. So when I was growing up, my great-grandparents were alive. We would go to my great-grandparents for a Seder. They lived right above us. I grew up with them. And there, I want to say Sigavain, probably 50 mention.
50?
Probably.
50?
Probably.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
with kids, yeah.
Wait a minute. You live in New York City.
Yeah.
You lived in an apartment. How
Yeah,
could-
he had a nice living / dining room.
50 people.
It was cleared out. Yeah, I think so.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
in your house at your father's Seder?
It's basically my family. Depends who is around, because meine Geschwister gehen zu seine in-laws and do einsided and dort einsided, oder machen sie daheim allein einsided. So my siblings, the ones who are married, go to in-laws, or they do one themselves. So it depends who comes. Usually not everybody comes, but I want to say, wait, let me see. I want to say 20 or more. Depends on the year. Depends who is around. But yeah.
Who does all the cooking? Only your mother, or does
No, everybody helps. Man tata macht de moeder, raab de moeder, en mijn wijntasach. So my father grinds the hand grind. I don't know if he hand grinds it still. My great grandfather used to grind it himself by hand, and everybody cries. But yeah, it's an operation. Another thing, in general in Pesach, people don't eat from other people households, except if you're immediate family. So, or maybe, well, if I go to my uncle's, I mean, I don't keep it that way, but if I would go to my uncle's, I'd eat that stuff. I'd eat what he cooks, what they cook. But my parents wouldn't eat if somebody else, somebody even they know, somebody a good friend of theirs cooked, they wouldn't eat that.
I wouldn't trust it.
It's not trust. It's not trust. It's a sort of tradition, and those people wouldn't eat from my parents either.
So you can't say.
It's not.
You can't say,
Sorry?
I'll bring the dessert.
No. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Es heißt gemischt. Man mischt sich nicht. So you don't mix. Is the literal word. So you eat only what you did at home, or what your immediate family, or maybe your uncle, or your immediate extended family.
Mhm.
Now,
But you don't. Go on. Sorry.
You live in New York City. How could you possibly have a Pesach dicker kitchen just for Pesach with the milk dick and the fleischer dick and the separate kitchen?
No,
In
Pesach
addition
kitchen is
to-
only one. Pesach kitchen is usually only one sink. It's a small little thing that is covered with. When we had a bigger apartment back 16 years ago. We had one wall. It had like cabinets and a sink, and it was covered with not sliding doors, but I don't know, like roll-out doors.
And you
year.
never touch that space the rest of the year.
No, you could store it. We'd storage our Pesach stuff. Yeah.
In the attic.
How many rooms did you have in your house with all this large family?
We have now. I live with my family actually now. We have now 4, and we had 4 in the old apartment.
4 what?
Bedrooms. Yeah. Yeah. It's a hectic Yantiv. It's a hectic holiday.
And your mother does, your Dine Mama makes she does all that cleaning, the walls. She does that herself?
Yeah, she's a force of nature, and not herself, but she does a lot of herself. Yeah, she is. I don't know how she has the energy, but yeah. All the books get ruffled through with a vacuum cleaner. and wiped down.
Books.
All of it. And we have a lot of books. It's, yeah, my brother does a little bit, my sister does a little bit. Actually, ich bin schon gewesen in the Heim for a while. I haven't been home for a Seder in a while. I mean, I've come home from other Seders that end late, earlier. And I've participated a little bit, but I haven't been here in a while. I usually go away for the Seder. It's intense. It's nice, but it's intense.
The Shmura matzah costs $24 in Stop and Shop.
That's probably cheap
So
compared to, yeah,
Kosher.
yeah. It's probably cheap compared to what, because my father and every household goes to a different bakery, the one they follow, that they trust, and it's all about the details in this one. Extreme details. Yeah.
Did your mother make borscht?
Ja, das will ich wohl sagen. My mama macht Borscht Zip. So, and Borscht, intergeschlagene Borscht. Yeah, that's good. My mother makes borscht, and there's two types of borscht. Borscht is basically you take beets and water, and you can either ferment it, so it takes about 30 days to ferment it or something like that, and it actually gets the quality, it gets like sour. And then there is this is the drink borscht. Then there is intergeschlagen. What is the translation for intergeschlagen? Basically, it's beating in eggs to give it a sour thing. Yeah, or sour cream. Yeah, but she wants it to be eaten with meat, so she can't put sour cream because it's dairy. So she puts in eggs and you beat it, and I don't know exactly how it's done, and it gives it a sour taste. It's a bit different than fermented. And then there's Borscht Zip, which is basically chicken soup, and you put in beets in it, and it gives this red color, which is my favorite. Because I'm not a big soup guy, but Borscht Zip on Pesach, I'll take that.
I'll try it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Suzanne,
Sorry?
you have a question?
Yeah. Does your mom done?
This is the Yiddish class.
The mama macht Remzlich?
Again, grenzlich. Ja, warte. Zum Beispiel schreiben es Potato Latkes. Bei mir ist es grenzlich. Das change sich nicht. Nur grenzlich. Potato Latkes is new age. So grenzlich is basically, grenzlich is another word for potato latkes, basically. It's the same thing. But I grew up latkes meant donuts, and grenzlich meant potato latkes. So, yeah, grenzlich, only grenzlich.
I'll look downstairs.
Sorry, Suzanne?
Ja, dank. Ich habe ein paar Fragen. Übersetzen auch, und willst.
Okay.
So, hast du bemerkt, ist, als alle Kinder haben gesucht, die 4 Kashes. Das ist sehr nicht gewöhnlich. I said, you said that all the children said the 4 questions. I don't know that is common. Erklärt, please explain.
Yeah. So I saw this at my father's father. That was a tradition that everybody, they went around the table, and everybody, no matter how old you are or how young you are, I mean, unless you can talk, but said the Manishtana, which is the 4 questions. And said it in Yiddish and Hebrew.
Mal verwusst.
Verwusst ist auch, ja, beendet geworden, Laila Azeh, der Nacht in Pesach, Kala Lailas und alle anderen Nacht ganz viel. I don't know how I remember it, but yeah, I guess I did it every year. Yeah, so jeder eine sucht Manishtana. Everybody says it. And I don't think I've seen it at my great-grandparents or my mother's side. I mean, the kids say it, but Sorry.
UPS.
No.
Gail, can you mute yourself?
Well, it's not a great box.
But
It's line
Oh,
one.
okay,
yeah,
that's good.
everybody
Somebody,
says it.
please,
Host mute her.
It's Gail.
Each person
Sorry?
says it and say it together.
No, you say it, everybody by themselves. Unless the kid is shy, you'll say it together with them or something.
Wow.
Each person says it.
Okay, after Sandy, I have one more question. Okay.
go Sandy. Sandy, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're muffled.
I mean now. Any better?
Yes,
Okay. Question now that it's out of my head. I'm sorry, come back to me, it's gone.
Gas prices came down.
Gail, please mute your
For gas in the car,
microphone.
but it was
Help me.
completely full.
Gail, please mute your,
I don't think she can hear you.
no. Okay, I have a question. Now,
Mhm.
somebody said around that there were lots of challenging questions that were discussed around the table. I don't know if Judy said that or somebody said that.
Lisa.
Do you do that at your table? Discuss, I don't know, philosophical questions, Jewish questions?
No,
No.
no. It's, yeah, it's, I've been to Seders where that is done. No, not here.
Okay, Sandy, did you remember your question?
And it's fictional. So
Can the host mute Gail, please?
you get it.
Peter, can you mute? Oh,
Yeah,
Gail.
yeah, she's muted. Yeah.
Okay,
I-
go ahead, Sandy.
Now, go to Suzanne.
I can't hear you.
Nothing. Gone.
Okay, Dank. Noch eine Frage. Wegen der Ehe Loction habe ich keinmal nicht gehört von dem. In was tut man mit sie?
So,
What do you do with
sorry.
the egg noodles that are actually eggs? Like, that's just eggs. Is it like flat eggs?
Yeah,
eggs,
so,
snide-
so, I'll answer in Yiddish and then I'll come back to English. In saying with three from flache Eier. So, man nimmt a skillet and man legt darauf a dünne Sache von eggs, dünne sheet basically, and macht sicher, dass es flach. And es kommt daraus a dünne round Sache von Eier, and you stack it. Basically, what you take is it's egg noodles. So, but just eggs basically. So you take it's like a flat scrambled egg. So you don't beat it once it's in the skillet. Flat scrambled egg. It's very flat, very thin, and then you put it on a plate, and you stack 20 or 30 of them, and it becomes like a piece of cake, sort of. And then you cut it strips, and that you put with a soup.
with the soup. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like egg
Or
chops.
you eat it, or I like to eat it just plain.
Oh,
As a snack.
Man nimmt gar nicht auf dem.
No,
You don't put anything on it. Oh,
no salt.
yeah.
Oh, Jacob, question.
Okay, Sandy, speak up.
For Pesach, the shops are filled, but there are no takeout restaurants. If Annette and I wanted to go down to Brooklyn and bring food home, do they have food things that we could buy from markets?
Like takeout specifically for Pesach, for Passover?
Yeah, if I want to. I'm sorry.
No, go on. I think there are in Flatbush. I don't know if we have in Williamsburg, but there are in Flatbush. Pomegranate, I think, should have. Yeah, it's a big store. It's pricey, but it's. I think they have a kosher for Passover takeout.
Isn't that Crown Heights?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Yankee?
I said this in Queens, there is, it's Kew Gardens Hills, whatever, on Main Street, about a mile from the from Long Island Expressway. There's some big, it's an Orthodox area, and they have several, I don't know offhand, but I know my friend who now lives in Israel used to shop there all the time.
Mm.
I wonder if
I wasn't
they have things in Muncie.
And also in Great
I'm sure they do.
Great Neck.
Ah,
In Great Neck, there's a lot of kosher and glatt kosher stores.
Well, what about Seasons in New Rochelle?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I think are we all questioned out?
Cedarhurst, Long Island has a lot of kosher stuff.
Muncie is a whole lot closer.
Okay.
Okay, Shane and Donk.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Shane
Become
is there. Shane, oh, thank you so much, Yankee, for coming.
my
And
pleasure.
I wish everybody a Zisa Pesach. And don't forget, burn the chumitz, not the chemish.
Are we going to the homework?
Akushen Freilichen Pesach.
Oh, I always forget the homework. Okay, we have to do the homework. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Yankee.
All right, I'll go. Have a good one.
You can go have a Zisa Pesach. Where are you going for Pesach, Yanko?
I'll be home and I'll go to the shul nearby. My friends are getting together, and then have another friend the second night, and I'll come for the rest of it. We'll probably finish early. I'll come for the rest of it home.
A Zisa Pesach to dear, and a Shane and Donk. It was very, very wonderful having you.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you.
we can stay on.
Shane Dank and Mal.
Thank you.
And the rest of us can stay on and do the homework.
Okay.
All right. Sandy, speak up, please.
Wait, that's what I want help with. As I speak, tell
Can't
me.
hear you.
Okay, I don't know what to do because I have a big mouth that I want to turn.
I'm sorry, but you have either get closer to the microphone because we don't hear you.
Okay, that's okay.
You finished the hand. No? Okay, well, let's move on to the homework. Ich will reden Yiddish.
I want to speak Yiddish.
I want to speak Yiddish.
Excellent. Es macht nicht aus.
It's not working out.
It doesn't
No
matter.
good.
Yeah.
No good.
Doesn't make a difference. Macht nicht aus.
Mm-hmm.
Nicht dahin, nicht daher.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there.
Red a bissel pamelacher.
Pamelach.
Pamelach. Red a bissel pamelach.
Speak a little slower.
A Shane Dank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A hartzigen Dank.
Thanks.
More
for
thank
the
you.
heart.
More thank you.
A heartfelt thanks. Soll sein mit Mazel.
She be with luck.
Mazal.
Soll sein mit Mazel.
Let it be with luck.
Be with
Good
luck.
luck. Soll sein mit Mazel. Otazoi.
Like that.
Just like that. Otazoi. Just like that.
Mhm.
Nicht azoi.
Not like that.
Not like that.
All right. You all get good marks on your homework. I thank you one and all for coming. It was such a pleasure. And I am so happy that we're here. And everyone have a Zisa Pesach. I hope you all clean your house and the walls. Don't forget the walls.
Walls.
Gotta clean the walls. And I hope you all have a happy and a Zisa Pesach.
A Zisa and a Gazinta Pesach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Pesach.
Okay, with that, we can end this session and hopefully we'll have another meeting next month on the first Friday of May.
Ashanim Dank.
Shane
Dank.
Judy and Judy.
Oh, wait,
Good.
Judy,
Dank.
Sehr
will
gut.
next month be on Zoom also?
We'll see. I imagine so, because that's the best place and the only one that we have, actually.
And also thanks to Annette.
Oh, thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Vielen Dank. Oh, sei gesund. And hopefully the
gesund.
first Friday we will get together.
Okay. Aber gegen
Okay.
Pesach, Aziz.
Bye, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Pesach.
Good to see you all. It was great.
It was great.
Now we know how to have a Passover. My goodness.
Oh, yeah. Maybe after hearing that, I think I want to convert. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to end it.
Go.
Okay.